Hello, my name is Starla Henderson with Fronter House Quilts blog, and today we are going to start work on our summer sampler. And I have right here my pattern that you can download, and we're going to start with the sunflower, as you can see. And the first thing you've got to do before we do our glue basting, because that's what we're going to talk about today, in this first video I'm going to show you how to trace your and fix your template. You're going to trace this in reverse, and you'll see why later. So you're going to turn it over, put it on a light box, and trace it. Before you trace it, though, you're going to need to be able to put these back together in order. So I just start somewhere on here, and I start numbering them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way around. There's 16 petals, and with the circle in the center, that's 17. And I did this in pencil. I used a light box so I could tell which one was number 1. Then, when I turn it over and do it in reverse, as you can see, I went clockwise, but when it's in reverse, it goes counterclockwise. That way, whenever we get the fabric on this, it's going to be the way the pattern is. You have to do this in reverse, just like whenever you're doing the back basting, you trace it in reverse. So, once you get that done, you do it on freezer paper. That is our template material for this. And this technique is really kind of a combination of several techniques that have been out there for a while that uses glue basting. And I've tweaked them and added a few things. Those were all for mostly machine applique. Some people have used it for hand applique, but I found some problems with it when I was working with it, so like I said, I've tweaked it and made it a little different so that some of those problems, and I'll discuss them as we come to them, it helped solve those problems and cut them down by a great deal. I like this technique because it is simple. I think if you can cut paper and glue with a little bit of practice, you can do this, and you can do hand applique. It's a good starting point for beginners, and it is a fun technique for more experienced people that's fast, because I do these little quilts that I've done recently, the summer sampler and the winter sampler, I did in a week, and that's with me still working on this technique and tweaking it. So it's definitely something that's fast, and it's simple, and I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So once you get it traced in reverse, trace your sunflowers and trace your whole pattern that way, you're going to need to cut them out. One thing that I do differently is instead of 1 layer of freezer paper, I use 2. Therefore, do not do this if you're planning on machine applique, because it's going to really mess with your machine to have 2 layers of paper. So I trace on 1 layer, and then I take another layer and I cut it to size, and I iron it to my ironing surface. That helps get rid of bubbles, and it just makes it go together very, very well. Then I lay my second piece down, the piece that I've traced, and I iron it to the first one. And you want the sticky side, the wax side, you're going to draw on the paper side, you want the wax side down on both cases, and while it's still hot, pull it off of your pattern, off of your ironing surface. And now, once you've done that with everything, you are ready to start cutting out your template. And to cut out your template is just, you have to, as you're cutting anything like this, you move the paper, not your scissors. And I've got some good paper scissors here, and I've got my template, and I do this in pencil because you're going to be getting this wet later, and ink can run, so don't do that. You'll be very unhappy with your results. But I will go in and I will come up to my point, and I turn my paper and I try to cut right on that line, and I'm going to cut right up to that circle right there. And then I take this, and don't worry about this circle. What I do is I go in, and I've got circle templates that you can buy at any office supply store. Here, I'll get one. and I will get another piece of freezer paper. I will measure my circle and find the one that fits, and in this case it's this one. And then later, look right here, I'm just going to go ahead, let me show you, let me move this back into camera here. I'm going to make my circle here. Okay? And that should, it fits right on there. There you go. That's you make sure it's the same size. That way I don't have to worry about cutting into this circle, and also this is a more perfect circle because I've used a template. So now I'm going to, as carefully as I can, because you still want to stay on these lines, I'm going to, but I'm going to have to cut in just a little bit. Cut in. I am going to cut around this whole thing on this one. I always try and cut the easiest way, and you just have to kind of look at your pattern. You can see once I cut all around that, then it's just a matter of cutting all of these lines until I have separate little petals all numbered and ready to be put back together once I have my paper glued to them. So I'm going to go now. I'm going to finish cutting these out. I'm going to do one more video for this week, and I'm going to show you how I glue these down. So I'm going to cut these out and click on the next video for this week, and I'll show you the gluing process. Thank you.